All right, calling the Gladstone City Commission meeting for July 11th to order. First up, invocation and pledge of allegiance led by Commissioner O'Connor.
Lord, accept our thanks for this day and all its blessings. We ask that you guide and direct our city, its leaders, and our actions. Grant that each of us may feel our responsibility to our community and help us then to bring our best efforts forward. To love our friends and family, to treat our employees and fellow workers fairly, to seek justice, to help those in need, and to be the best that we can be. Help us to share not only our tangible wealth, but also our intangible riches of knowledge, leadership, and creativity to make our city, our state, and our nation overflowing with peace, love, and understanding.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Bostwick,
Here.
Commissioner O'Connor,
Here.
Commissioner Phelan,
Here.
Commissioner Thompson,
Here.
Commissioner View.
Here.
All right. First, before we get to public comment, from the July 11th, from the, let's see, what meeting? The June 13th meeting, we had tabled the compost site facility to this meeting, so we'd have to add that to letter D. So does someone want to make a motion?
I move that we add to unfinished business a discussion on the compost site.
A support?
I'll support.
All right, motion by Commissioner Thompson, support by Commissioner Phelan to add the compost site facility. The agenda under D, unfinished business. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, first up is public comment. Before we get to that, though, Nicole Sanderson wants to recognize a couple people.
Good evening. I always like this part of my job. We have so many people that love Gladstone and do so many things for Gladstone. I just wanted to take a couple of minutes and recognize Linda Dahlgord. Linda Dahlgord has been going up and down M35 and North Bluff Drive for the last, she said 4 years. I think it's been about 5 years. And she does that 3 or 4 times a week. She brings a trash bag and she picks up trash. She also informs us that there's anything going on or if there's anything wrong. I asked her why she did it, and she said for health reasons. It's improved her health, and plus she feels like she is doing something on a daily basis. So Linda couldn't be here tonight because she is on vacation, but I will mail her recognition. And it basically says, the City of Gladstone hereby recognizes Linda for her volunteer efforts in helping us keep M35 and North Bluff Drive clean and beautiful for all to enjoy. And it's signed by our mayor. And then, secondly, Sandra Gibbs Nelson is here with her family. Sandra went down with trash bags and her little ones, and they cleaned our beach. She had said to me that she wanted to set a good example and teach her kids how to help out. And so those pictures were posted on Facebook. And if you want to come up real quick, I'll give you out your receipt and introduce your children. This says the City of Gladstone recognizes her and her family for their volunteer efforts in keeping our beach clean and beautiful for all to enjoy, and it's signed by our mayor. And if you want to introduce your children real quick and say anything.
Hi, my name is Sandra, and this is Caden, this is Zach, and that's Russell. And there's also one more, Austin. He's at All-Star practice. So me and RJ had went down to the beach, and I grew up here, and I love it, and I was like, oh my gosh, look at all this garbage. So all day at work, the next day I work at the hospital, and I'm like, that is it. We are going down to the beach, and we are picking this up, and there were so many bottle caps and chew cans and like people, the caps from the worms that, I mean, just some things you can't help, if you're out in a boat or whatever, but we had our rubber boots on and we had rubber gloves on, and people need to get out there and do that more. And then I was at our baseball game. I play softball, and one of the girls that I play with, she has a tractor in the parade, and she's like, "Oh, do you want to do a float?" And I'm like, a float. So we actually ended up doing a float about littering in the parade, and it was really cool. The kids, we threw out a bunch of candy, and after that, the kids, we had little recycling garbage bins, and they picked up people's trash, and it was so, I could have just cried, because I think they had more fun picking up garbage from people, and people in the community were coming out, putting their trash, and our garbage bin was just overflowing. So I just hope that, a couple people think about it before they throw their McDonald's out the window, and it's just awful. So next year, we're going to have something else in the parade too, so it'll be bigger and better.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, now, public comment?
Ken Levine, 2722 South Hill Road, Gladstone. I see we got the fire truck up for sale. What is the procedure in getting rid of that? Do you bid on it? You just sell it outright, or what do you do? Because
Well,
I
we'll be
hear
dis-
Livingston needs a fire truck.
Right, we'll be discussing that on the agenda tonight.
Oh, okay, appreciate that.
Yep,
Thank you.
thank you. Any other? All right, moving on to the consent agenda for the special meeting minutes of June 6th, special meeting of June 13th, regular meeting minutes of June 13th, the special meeting minutes of June 20th, the open forum meeting minutes of June 27th, the regular meeting minutes of June 27th, the special meeting of June 29th, the planning commission minutes of June 4th, and no payment of bills.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as it was published in the package.
The only problem I have with it is I was absent for the June 20th meeting, and you had me down as there.
We can make that correction. Let's see, June 20th.
We'll get paid anyways.
We only had one meeting that night. June 20th, you were absent?
Yep.
I just have a
All right,
comment.
do we have, oh, sorry, can we just get a second first?
I'll support.
Okay.
It was a race.
Motion by Commissioner Thompson, support by Commissioner O'Connor to agree to the consent agenda as reported. So, now discussion.
I see we have a list of checks. It'd be nice if we could actually figure if we could get a detail of which departments they're associated with. I see we have $13,000 in card member services. I believe that's for utility payments. Yeah. So that's if I multiply 13 times 12, that's a lot of money each year. So I don't know if there's a way to, if that's something the treasurer's looking into reducing, or if that's already been reduced. So.
I'm not sure that is the same thing you're talking about. That's for the city of Gladstone credit cards payments out there,
Those are like monthly reoccurring bills on the credit cards from different departments.
like the phone bills and the, whatever, the automatic DTE payments. They hit each department's credit card so that it's set up for automatic payment.
Okay, so the
company is called Card Member
Okay, so,
Services.
oh, I see, okay, so it's the card member service for the city. Okay,
Correct.
so the detail of what's on the credit card then is where?
Is with that check that is cut to Card Member Services on a monthly basis.
Oh,
So
okay,
each card gets an invoice, and the department head has to code that, and
Okay,
that
so-
is with the one check that is paid out to the.
Okay, so for the detail, we'd need to actually see the $13,000 invoice to see what all the items were that were
There's
purchased.
several, yeah, each department gets, whoever has a credit card and there's a charge on it gets an invoice, a credit card statement, yeah.
Thank you. That
You're
explains why there's no charges for gas ever.
Well,
All right, any more discussion?
Yeah, I got a, there was a motion by Commissioner View and second by Commissioner View to approve the application for resolution of special liquor license, and I don't know who seconded it, but I didn't do both.
okay, we can look at that, and that was on which meeting?
That was
Should have been
the last
June
meeting,
27th.
June 27th,
Okay.
the third page. Then one other comment I'd like to see what the commission would like, but when it says payment of the bills, none, can't we at least have the total what we paid? I know the none means there was nothing over budgeted or over $5,000, but I think it would be kind of nice to see what the total amount of the bills are each month, that we can, look and see, different parts of the month you pay a lot more, and other parts you pay, less, and we can kind of see what our cash flow is in spending. Would that be a problem, or is anyone else interested in knowing that?
I think they give you a
That is what you have.
they give you a detailed copy in there. It just says none on the agenda.
Where's
Because there's nothing that we're gonna have to
Vicky
discuss.
puts,
The accounts payable.
Vicky puts
Yeah, but
it
I
in
meant
there.
for the citizens, they don't get the whole packet.
Yes, they do. It's available online. They get the same thing you do unless it's a privileged written attorney.
Oh, they can
client.
come in and ask for it?
They can come in and ask for it as soon as, I actually publish
Okay.
it to the internet before I put them in your box, so.
Okay, well, I
Yeah,
just,
they're included now, yep, with everything, so they get exactly what you get unless it's.
okay, what was brought to my attention, it's always none, don't we pay nothing, I mean, I know we do, but I'm saying some citizens, I said, well,
Right.
I'll ask and see if we can have at least the total put on the,
The detail that you're receiving in your packet is everything that was paid out for the month, but on what the consent agenda is, it's anything over 5,000 is what is going to come to you guys, so.
okay.
Yep, and I'm looking for that. Should be Commissioner View, seconded by Commissioner Thompson.
See, you
For the
were
liquor
left out.
license. So we can correct that now.
All right, any more discussions other than the corrections? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, under unfinished business, proposed interim city manager agreement, Mr. Eric Buckman. Myself and Commissioner View met with Eric Buckman and discussed the interim city manager position. Discussion occurred regarding the expectations of the interim manager, and it was agreed that Mr. Buckman will continue his duties as water and wastewater superintendent and continue the day-to-day operations while working towards the commission's goal that were set for Manager Falcon on June 6th. The goals are as follow: combine Parks and Rec Department with Parks and Recreation Department with the Department of Public Works, create a pension stabilization fund, restructure enterprise funds to reflect actual costs, form committees to look into union contracts and negotiations, Phaser ratings for streets, and priority-based budgeting. The only concern that Mr. Buckman expressed was regarding the original timelines that were given for Manager Falcon. So it's my and Steve's recommendation that we appoint Mr. Buckman to the interim city manager with a $500 biweekly until a manager is hired, and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign an agreement with Mr. Buckman. And we discussed there is no car allowance.
And I can add a little bit to that too, so Eric can correct me if I'm wrong, because I made some notes from that meeting. In the meeting, I had confidence in Mr. Buckman's ability to continue with the day-to-day function of Gladstone. He pointed out his 30 years of experience, 30-plus years of experience, and he was involved working with the city in that capacity at previous times, small periods of time, but he was the go-to person before. He is very highly respected by his peers in his field, and he has a good relationship with the staff and employees of the city. So I thought that was pretty important to not miss as many steps in our direction we're trying to go. Another important key is the stipend I call for his additional duties of being city manager was very low compared to what I was told if we hired an intern manager. Probably about 1/4, if I'm not mistaken, of what we would pay someone else to come in, and he has the same abilities of what we're looking forward to. Eric also indicated his willingness to continue to move forward with the goals that we have addressed about a month ago. Timetables are not into play, but we felt that, me and Jay, that continuing to move forward and having discussions on the priorities established by us as the commission was going to be a big advantage than not having any movement or ideas of discussion until after we hire a city manager, whoever it is, because that could take a period of 6 or more months, up to 9, maybe a year, depending on who's out there and the process we take. And that wouldn't be in the best interest of the citizens. So that's what I wanted to report to you, that I came out of it, in case some of yous are not interested in doing it. But I recommend, just because of our meeting and the stuff like that. And Eric, this is basically what we talked about, right? I mean, just, so that's pretty promising for us to, we'll probably miss a step or two, but I think being able to move forward from now, next 6, 7 months while we look for a regular city manager is going to be pretty important. So, any guys want to say anything or have any questions, go ahead.
No, I've got full confidence in you. It's a lot to do.
Yeah.
You're doing everything plus more. But if you've thought about it and you agree to it, I think that's wonderful. So I'm in full support.
All right, does someone want to make a motion? And then
Well,
we can have
do we have to make the motion with the amount of pay, or?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, I'll move that we appoint Eric Buckman, interim city manager, with a stipend of $500 per pay period.
I'll support.
All right, motion by Commissioner View, support by Commissioner Phelan.
Did you want to put the timeline in, just, we had in there until a manager was hired, or just?
Yeah, until.
Well, I was going to say that, but I didn't know if we had to, until we hire a permanent city manager. Or until he resigns. Well, no, I mean, if
It
it
is
gets
true.
too much on him, just to let you know, he said that if it became overbearing and from his other duties to this, that he wanted the opportunity to say that, hey, I need to step back from this, so.
It's typical too, the agreement would be drawn up once the
Okay.
commission makes the appointment or the motion, and then authorize the mayor and clerk to sign that with him. So that would be typical of the motion as well.
Okay, well, I authorize the clerk and our honorable mayor to sign that agreement.
All right, any discussion? I know Eric, his number one goal was to make sure that we find a good city manager, so he had already talked about that. So I think that's very good that we have someone who's willing to step up and do what's best for the city.
Somebody that wants to live in the city, too.
Yes, yes.
I mean, wants to be here, be part of the community. Not that the other one didn't, because they were a big part of the community, but I don't want someone that's just going to come here, get a couple feathers in their hat, and then plan on moving on. New resident for our community to draw us all together. That's my goal for this city manager. And I think it's feasible. You're not going to find them overnight. Maybe we will, but I doubt it.
All right, so all those in favor of Eric Buckman being the interim city manager, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Eric.
Thank you.
Darn it, eh?
It's an honor, I think.
It is.
All
Honored to
right.
have you.
Next, under unfinished, is special assessment number 315, complete restructuring of Dakota Avenue, 9th Street to 10th Street.
Is that what we talked about last time, eh?
Yep.
So what do we want to do now is, why do we want to table it?
Well, on this one, Mark's going to talk about it. We had set this up a couple months ago, and we were setting it up so we'd be ready by the second meeting of this month, and it mistakenly got put on for this one, and because we haven't got the information, the engineer's recommendation yet on award of bid, so we couldn't come to you with numbers yet. So, Mark had.
There's really not much more to add. We did get bids. I mean, the engineer has them. He's going to compile them, and we need to talk to him more about the project. But they were within the ballpark of where we were thinking. But we'll bring more at a later date. So.
All right, I'll move that we move the special assessment number 315 to the July 25th meeting.
I'll support.
All right, motion by Commissioner Phelan, support by Commissioner O'Connor to table special assessment number 315 to the July 25th meeting. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now the special assessment number 316, mill and overlay of Michigan Avenue from 11th Street to 14th Street.
Same thing. I mean, we just are waiting for that final recommendation from the engineer.
I make a motion that we move special assessment 316 to the July 25th.
I'll
Commission
support.
All right, got motion by Commissioner by Commissioner Thompson, support by Commissioner View to table special assessment number 316 to the July 25th meeting. Any more discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Mark. All right, next is compost site facility.
Compost.
That was supposed to be, Manager Falcon was supposed to present a full description of the card swipe system and software.
Do we have anything on that?
I just found the file today. So I've been starting to catch up and find things, and I went through all the numbers, and it looks like she got some numbers from a couple different entities, and we're looking at $23,000 to $25,000 about for the gate, the card swipe, and the software. That's for the card preparation and the cards. 8x8 steel building, poles, electric poles and poles mounted with the cameras, and all that together looks like it'll be about $25,000. These aren't fixed numbers. I have to go through and see who sent the prices and everything. I didn't know, is that the route the commission wanted to go, or they want to put all this money up into the compost site, or?
Well, I think my view is I'd like to see the gate put in this year, and the cameras possibly next year. I'd like to see if the gate can take care of the issue that we need. We definitely need security, and that'll take care of it. And I think as long as we don't have any people doing things they shouldn't as far as leaving things behind, I think that should be adequate. But I would like to...
The gate with the card swipe?
Yeah, with the card swipe, because then we'll know who's in there. So if something does happen, if someone reports it, we'll know who was in there for that period of time. So that could possibly take the need for the cameras, minimize those. So I'd like to work on the card swipe, and I'd like to make a recommendation that we get the power pole in with the cable TV service so that we're ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's probably going to take a couple more months for us to get bids and then actually get construction for a gate. So that should cut the cost probably in about 2/3. So
I saw the prices from our IT person that does our IT with using our electric crew for mounting the cameras, and I know Dave with the electric department has done the cameras before. They're that price was significantly lower than having a subcontractor come in and do the whole job, so.
We're looking to do it smart, so maybe we do want to have, I don't know if makes sense to have the crew put in
How much money is budgeted for this year that we have to do this? Anything?
I'm not sure on that point. I'll have to look.
Mike, do you remember how much? Do we have the money for it that's already
Yeah, we transferred
pre-budgeted?
money around, so I think we did 27,000. So we did as much as we needed, so I wanted to stay under that amount, because we did that transfer between the funds so we would have money available.
I mean, the only thing I'm looking at is if the tax comes in for the compost site in Delta County, all the Gladstone residents are gonna be paying another fee if they so desire to vote that in for their recycling center and stuff. And even though I've been helping out at the compost site, I've found stuff, even when I'm there, that shouldn't have been dumped there. Plastic pails,
Styrofoam, I know. There's always some.
You know, I
some
mean,
stuff
so
that
you're
we
not
see.
you're still gonna need people up there to clean up, monitor, and pick up stuff. You know, I mean, it'll help alleviate labor just by having a swipe card, because you won't need no one to monitor it like we do now.
Yeah, you have the greatest access to everybody.
Right,
Swipe
right.
cards.
Instant 24/7 if you want it.
Right. Well, I think I'd like to get the gate and then put up more information as far as that we just want grass and leaves, no styrofoam, no plastic bags. We have trash cans there for them to put those
Proper
in.
signage then.
Proper signage to help people know what they should do and what they shouldn't leave behind. So I think
And the biggest things I like the citizens to know is, I know it's not a high priority to compost for a lot of people when we have a lot of other problems in the city of Gladstone, but what I looked at was, I don't use the compost site at all. My grass is, when it cuts, it's nothing there anyways. It's such a small yard. But it's a service that, since I've been volunteering up there, that I see a lot of people. There's a vast majority of the people that use it. I would say about the same amount that would probably use the park, that would go down to the park, the yacht harbor, maybe not as many for the campgrounds, but all them services are not being utilized by every citizen in our city, but a certain portion of them like it, and I think there's enough that like the compost site that it should be put in that classification of a service that the city supports. It's just, my only concern right now is I don't want to support something we don't have it budgeted for. So I need to make sure we have the money already budgeted for what we're asking for, and I don't know if, I thought you would have that answer, or...
Well, we have sufficient money. The thing is, people pay the $4.95 a month, so they can do this. The fact that we're taking the majority of that money and using it for other things, we should say, well, you know, I realize you're, you know, the people are paying more than enough money each year for that service.
But it's my understanding that only 90-some cents of that $4.95 is for the
Yeah, but that's
compost.
not the way it was originally set up.
But
It
is
was
that the way it
originally-
is now?
Yeah, it is the way it is now, because they
Okay.
added a bunch of stuff to it.
Right, that's some of the things we need to address long-term as far as the utility bills. They should reflect that, but I think for tonight, I think we're just looking for where we should go from here, which is to continue to look at the gate. Maybe we should move this down another month.
As a possible way of saving money, when I was looking at this, I was just wondering if we were to, go in and put the poles in, and put the cameras in, and, open the gate and see how that works.
Trial
the cameras.
basis.
And
That's a good idea.
just see
We'd
how the
have
cameras
it on
work.
video
and
so we could still monitor what people
Is that the
are doing.
less expensive way to go right now?
The cameras and the poles we'd be looking at probably about a $7,000, and depending on what building we put there, so it could be about 9,000 total.
Well, that's the thing, I don't know if we really need that big a building. I think it depends what our, vendor would come up with as far as the box. And if
Yeah.
we're storing it there, if we're running it over the internet, right back here where there's a server, and that's why I was wondering exactly what the setup is, because if we're only using it, because we're gonna lock the gate in November and open in April, if it's not used in the winter, we don't have to, worry about the cold on the electronics. Or you running the cameras in the winter either, because it's gonna be closed.
Yeah.
So maybe we don't need a structure that we have to heat and cool. Maybe it could just be a metal box on a pole. to have the interface.
The building that was in the file just showed an 8x8. It was a steel building. It's pretty damage proof. It looked like, but it's true. It could go even smaller. And I don't know if the cameras and the at least the DVR system and the computer could be removed every fall and stored in a warm building, put back in.
Exactly. So I'm wondering if we can minimize just the building, because that seems like another obstacle. We have to find a site for it, put it somewhere, and then run everything to it.
Would we bring the video back to the server here?
Yeah, I haven't talked to Jim about it, but I'm sure that's.
We could stream it live so everybody can police the compost station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be more popular than our meetings.
There'll be a lynching at the compost site.
All right, so should we look at that option and then table it for?
So you want to make a motion then?
I'd like to make a motion that the city manager look into the poles and camera part of it, and what would be required minimally to get this installed.
I'll support that.
All right, motion by Commissioner O'Connor, support by Commissioner View. Any more discussion? All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next is appointment to the Board Review, Mr. Jeff Diebolt.
I think Jeff's here tonight.
Yeah, I'm here today. I don't know if I was supposed to speak at all.
He turned in an application. This is for the alternate vacancy. It's times during Board of Review, and not everybody can meet. It's a thankless job, and it's nice somebody wants to do it.
I'm usually on the other side of the table.
And he has a lot of experience with rentals, and he owns quite a few homes in town. So
I've seen his name there at the Board of Review.
All right, so does someone want to make a motion?
I'll move that we appoint Mr. Jeff Diebolt to the Board of Review for the alternative vacancy.
I'll support.
All right, got a motion by Commissioner View, support by Commissioner Thompson, to appoint Mr. Jeff Diebolt to the Board of Review as an alternate with a term expiration January 1st, 2017.
Yep, expiration, yep.
Okay, any more discussion?
Thank you. I like that when you step up.
Thank you very much. That's two. You need to stockpile these. You'll need them later.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next is the proposed sale of fire truck and equipment.
Good evening. Paul Geyer from the Public Safety Department. Question was made during public comment about the bidding process or the sale of city equipment. In the past, in public safety, we have put out equipment for bids. I did not do that other than just word of mouth with our truck at this point. The city commission, through the bidding policy for the city, has the option to waive bidding requirements if they deem it's in the best interest of the city. The way this progressed, obviously we got a new fire truck. Our old truck, which is a 1988 GMC Grumman, we're looking for a spot for it. You may be aware that back, I believe it was May 29th, Autrain Township up near Munising, between Munising and Marquette, had a fire at one of their fire stations. They have three smaller stations strategically located throughout their township. They lost a pumper truck, a brush/grass fire truck, and all of the equipment that they had in that fire station. Our volunteers came to me and wanted to look at the possibility of us donating our truck and equipment that we had on the truck to Autrain. I mentioned that I would get in touch with their chief, see what situation they had up there. He contacted me actually first because one of our volunteers was in touch with him. Basically, through discussions with him, we came to a conclusion, provided that you, as the city commission board, and that his township board, which is also meeting right now as we're meeting, approves the sale of the truck and the equipment that we had on it, our older SCBA's, for the sum of $2,000. The scrap value on our truck through Alter Recycling up on our bluff is $650. I got a quote for that the other day. Also had some interest in another township locally buying our truck. One of the townships was looking for a backup type reserve pumper. They decided to go a different direction, contacted me and said they were no longer interested in the truck. Any of the Fire Trader or some of the fire sales magazines out there for trucks and equipment, I've seen trucks listed in there for a solid year that haven't been sold. I would just as soon not have our truck for a solid year, so I have to find a place for it or keep up minimal maintenance on it, per se. So with the suggestion of our volunteers and with your approval, obviously, I would ask that we allow the sale of the truck and the equipment to Autrain for the sum of $2,000. I can try to answer any questions if you have any more questions, but that's a brief summary of what's been taking place over the last couple months.
So you feel that's a fair value, $2,000?
I feel if we sold the air packs outright, we could probably get more for that if we could sell them. There are some packs that are worth maybe individually $200-300, maybe even more than that a little bit. Some of our newer, older ones. But with the situation that happened in Autrain, with the situation that we had where we were blessed with the Bessie Foundation purchasing our truck for the city, the fact that we've had great use out of that truck over the last 27 years or whatever, our volunteers, and I guess I kind of feel that we could pay it forward, so to speak, and help Autrain out in the same thing. Could we possibly get more from selling it down the line? Yes, we could. We could also have it sitting there for 2 years and nobody would want to purchase it or get rid of it, or take it on. So I guess that's my recommendation to the board.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the sale of the 88 GMC fire truck and equipment to the Autrain Fire Department for $2,000. I think, the Bessies were very good to us, and they really have a need with their loss. So I think it'd be a good thing to do.
Okay, support.
All right, motion by Commissioner Thompson, support by Commissioner O'Connor to sell the 1988 GMC fire truck and equipment to the Autrain Fire Department for $2,000. Any discussion?
One more comment that I may add. If their township board decides not to do this evening, then obviously I'll come back to you at some other point and move forward with some other option. But the chief up in Autrain fully expected that their board would approve this as well, both meeting on the same meeting night. So we're hoping to call each other here shortly and move forward with the sale. So.
Do you know if they've contacted any other fire departments?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'd like to make a comment that it's very honorable what you're doing. The only thing is, I don't like not following the procedure that was set by the city. Personally, myself, I agree 100% with what you're trying to do here, but what's going to stop other things from coming here, circumventing, even though the commission has the ultimate power to change everything, but not to follow the rules on the way we should be doing things?
Well, your policy, purchasing and bidding policy, applies to items that I believe are over $5,000 in range or $10,000. So this selling this below that amount, I don't think you're deviating from the policy. I guess we did.
I thought that's for bidding out, not for. For when you bid out a project for the city. See, I guess I'm not really understanding the full procedure of why all of these policies and procedure, systems are in place, because we don't follow them all the time. Even if it is for a good reason.
I don't know that we have.
I'm not sure that there is a policy for bidding out city equipment. There's a policy for purchasing, for us to expend money.
Right, I know that one.
But I'm saying past practice in the past for my department has been to, most of our vehicles before were transferred to different departments, so there wasn't a bidding process. The last 3 cars that we've moved out of our department, patrol cars, we've actually put an ad, went through a bidding process for that. The reason I didn't with the fire truck is that the timing that occurred with the delivery of our new truck, which was just on July 1st, and then Autrain's need with their fire and them contacting me within the last couple weeks. I could certainly, go back and put it out through the process, but I think this is the right thing to do, to be honest with you.
All right, just tell me this, we have no process when we sell stuff.
When we've sold equipment,
I mean,
Kim might be able to answer that better.
Your bid policy is, yes, for bidding and purchasing, but on a bid, it tells you how to go about doing that. It also says that when appropriate, the city commission can deviate from that if they feel on
Well, we
any
can
matter.
deviate from a lot of things.
Right.
Is it appropriate all the time,
So you
though?
are following the policy even by deviating because he brought it to you
Well,
and
there
getting your
was,
approval.
there was some
So-
stuff brought up since I've been sitting on the commission where we didn't follow proper procedure and people got upset over it. I just want to make sure that if there-
Relating to selling equipment?
Well, relating to the bidding of whatever.
And the policy has been looked at, I think, a couple times before this commission, and there were adjustments made, and it is being followed. The process that he is
I
taking
mean, I'm
right
looking
now
out for the
is
best interests of
following
the
it.
citizens as getting the most they can for the stuff that we have also. And I have no problem with doing this if you can assure me that we have no written policy on how this is, that this is legal to do.
Our purchasing policy to purchase things, we have
I
a
know
policy
that.
for.
I know, but not for bidding.
For
Okay.
selling property, we do not have a formal policy. In the past, we've gone through bidding
You
processes.
just change it whatever way you feel, or we feel would
It's
be best for
ultimately the
the
commission's
best interest of the
decision.
commission and that.
They're always brought to the commission
Okay.
and put out for that. I mean, it doesn't say that, but I believe I could find it in a charter or a code of ordinances that says you guys are the ultimate decision on that.
Well, I just want to make everyone aware that we're not deviating from something different. We've done this before. It's always customary to,
Well,
I would hate
I
to see
haven't sold,
something.
the last fire truck we had turned into an
Yeah.
alley plow truck. In my 23 years here, I have not ever sold a fire truck. So I mean, but I'm involved with the process of looking into that and doing that. And like I said, I've seen trucks that are newer than our truck sit on websites for purchase and whatnot that haven't been sold in multiple years.
Well, personally, myself, I would have felt much better if it was put out for bid. They got it for $1,000 or $2,500 or whatever. If it didn't go, then you would have came here and said, well, we don't want to sit on it for 2 years. Let's do this system. That's how I would have looked at it.
The volunteers recommended that I come and approach you to give it to them for nothing, because of the money that they've raised for the city and the different things that they've done in the past that have gone towards equipment on that truck and whatnot. But I thought that we should get something based on, what the possible value of the truck was. The other option is we turn the truck into scrap metal, in which case we'll get $650. So.
That's not getting fully equipped with anything we can use, though. I mean, the hoses and stuff, I mean.
There's some hose that's going to go with it. I mean,
But
there's
it doesn't match up with anything
No.
we have.
no.
All right, any more
God, I
discussion?
see a lot in here.
All right, all those in favor of approving this sale, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Paul. All right, next is introducing a rezoning request, ordinance amendment number 599 for property located 1100 North Lakeshore Drive from I-1 light industrial to B2 commercial.
Good evening, Commission. The property before you is property at 1100 North Lakeshore Drive. It's owned by Daryl Myron. Anytime there's a zoning amendment proposed, it has to be introduced to you and then approved at a later meeting date. So tonight it's just before you to introduce it and for you to consider whether or not you want to hold an additional public hearing. On June 14th, 2016, the Planning Commission recommended approval of the zoning, the rezoning request. They held a public hearing. It is required that the Planning Commission hold a public hearing at their level. Typically, precedence is that the city commission does not hold an additional public hearing unless there was a lot of public outcry. If the planning commission recommends that you hold another one for reasons that they may have, and then if there's a personal request made, a written request. None of those criteria are present, so it's up to you. If you wish to hold a public hearing, I would recommend that we set that for August 8th. If no public hearing is desired, then I would request that this be placed on the July 25th agenda for consideration for approval. Is there any questions about it? I know there's a ton of stuff in there.
There's no public opposition?
There
At the
was.
Planning Commission?
There was one gentleman who lives at 1114 Willow Road that was present. His biggest concern was concern about losing the road, which is a different request, so I wouldn't consider that as part of the rezoning request. So we kind of just put that to the side, and we told him that we would let him know when the public hearing was for the vacating of the road is. So that's coming up later on the agenda. He also had concerns regarding the fishing pier. He did not want to lose access to the fishing pier. He thought the fishing pier was going to be removed. It is not. That will come forward in the site plan that Daryl presents, but verbally, Daryl has already
They
promised.
won't be removing the fishing pier, but how about the parking lot where everybody parks to go?
The parking lot will be changed, but Daryl has said that his parking lot will be there and can be utilized for the same thing. So there will still be parking available there.
Who owned that property? The city didn't own that, right? Wasn't that sold in by the state?
It was owned by the state, correct. The only other complaint that this gentleman had was that it would ruin his view to the lake. He didn't necessarily say they were complaints, they were more concerns. He lives on Willow Drive, or Willow Road.
Which is the road behind the railroad tracks?
It's not guaranteed a view of the lake. So those items were discussed with him. The planning commission explained that the way that property is currently zoned is I-2, which is, it's I-1, light industrial. There's a lot more invasive uses permitted currently, the way it's zoned. B2, commercial, reduces tremendously the amount of risk of what may be built there. He seemed pretty okay by the time he left the meeting, but he does want to be alerted to when the public hearing is for the road being vacated. So we will let him know about that. But it's completely up to the commission whether they want to hold another public hearing. The only reason, if we do hold a public hearing, that it's a different date is that I have to give 15 days notice to the property owners that surround that area.
Is this rezoning have anything to do with what's being built there now?
Sure.
So, I mean, it's already in progress, no matter, even if we didn't approve it.
No, that's not true. He has.
Well, I'm asking. you
Yep,
know.
he's moved soil. He's permitted, I can't
Well,
stop
he's
anybody
dug for
from.
the foundation and everything.
Yep, I can't stop that.
No.
We don't recommend that he be
Okay.
in that process, but he is.
Well, I'm sure he wants to get done before winter.
Yep,
So if we didn't approve the rezoning, then what would we have to do?
he'd have to do whatever. He dug a hole on his property. It's no different than anybody digging a hole. You don't need a permit to dig a hole. So everything that he's done, it does require DEQ approval. He does have that.
Well, I know Daryl, and I like what he's doing there. The only thing is, the process on how we do things, it seems to be,
He's not in violation of
No,
anything.
but-
And
was he assured anything?
no, no.
Okay.
The only thing I will say is that this process was somewhat mishandled by the city. We should have been further along in this process. So that's our fault.
I mean, that puts a lot of pressure on us to,
Sure.
But where he currently is, that's also I-1 right now, right?
It is. So we're rezoning the entire process. So there was some mistakes done in the past that
where
we're
he's already
correcting at
built
the
is
same
I-1.
time.
so we're just correcting.
We're correcting a problem where he currently exists, and we're
And not only
preparing
there,
the
there's-
land
There's
for the.
several other properties along there that we have to rezone, right?
This proposal includes 3 parcels along there. The parcel that he is already on and then the 2 parcels that he purchased from the state.
Well, I just didn't want you to take wrong what I'm asking, because
No.
it just seems a lot to expect without knowing everything.
What would you need to know?
Well, I mean, I think it's just not fast enough for him, so he's building on it, I guess.
He's not building on it at this time.
Well, okay.
He has dug holes and put boards in the ground, but there's no cement, there's nothing permanent there. If this doesn't go through, that's his issue to do whatever he desires to do with it. But he owns the land, so there's certain things he's entitled to do, and those are the things that he's done.
Okay.
If it were up to him, it would be half up by now. You're right.
Well, I mean, what are we supposed to do with this tonight, then?
So
Well, we're gonna-
tonight, oops,
I'll move that we put a public, or not have a public hearing and put this request for rezoning on our next regular commission meeting, July 25th.
I'll support.
All right, motion by Commissioner Phelan, support by Commissioner Thompson, to have no public hearing and to place this on the rezoning request at the next regular meeting of July 25th. Any discussion?
This is the kind of development that we want in Gladstone to increase our tax base.
yep.
And
We can't vote on this tonight? We have to
No, it
delay
has to be introduced one night and approved
Okay,
at a
all right.
following meeting.
That's the proper procedure. Okay.
I wish you could, but
All
Yeah, me
right,
too.
all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next is ordinance assignment for rezoning approvals.
So a little bit of a mess to clear up. Because we were working on Daryl Myron's rezoning request, Kim and I noticed that when you propose a rezoning request, there should be an ordinance number assigned to it. And in the past, we went through the proper procedure to approve everything, but we failed to assign an ordinance number to it. So tonight, we are correcting the last 3 rezoning requests that Renee and Kim worked on together, just to fix them. And the way our code is written, it says that even if the policies and procedures aren't followed, the zoning still stands as true to what's there. So we're not in violation of anything, but we're just trying to correct how these were approved in the past and assign an ordinance number to it. And largely what that does is it codifies it and puts it in permanent record. So 30 years from now, when nobody remembers what we did, somebody can look in that zoning ordinance book and know that these properties were rezoned. So it doesn't change anything that's already occurred, but we do need to have the ordinance assigned to it and approved. And this can be done tonight in the same meeting. The first one that's there is the Super Value property, the vacant property that's right behind Super Value, or whatever the new name of the Super Value is now. The second property is the school bus garage right behind us here. And the third property was a property owned by Skellingers on North Lake Shore Drive. Is there any questions on this? So if there's no questions tonight, what we'd be looking for is to approve ordinance number 600.
Well, you got 8 properties listed there.
Right, some of the properties
Or double-
include several
double lots.
parcels.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
Well, I'll move that we assign the ordinance for the rezoning approval as listed in this report.
I'll support.
All right, motion by Commissioner View, support by Commissioner Thompson, to approve the ordinance number 600 to correct errors. Any more discussion?
What happens if we wouldn't have supported it?
Still stands as it is, it
That's
just
what I thought.
will make our lives miserable, and somebody 30 years from now miserable. As the property owners of these, if I was the property owner, I would want this corrected.
It's a higher tax rate too.
No, it's not a higher tax
All
rate.
from residential to commercial?
You'd have to ask the assessor that.
I'm asking, I always thought, I pay a lot more on my commercial property to do.
Well, you pay more though, because you're not homesteading your commercial property.
Because you can live on a commercial property?
No. That's why you can't homestead.
Well, then it would be a higher tax rate. If it's commercial to,
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next is a QPAD Arts mini grant.
I'm going to stay here for a little bit. I am proposing that you allow staff to enter into writing another QPAD mini grant for up to $4,000 they have grants available for art projects. One of the things that they propose that they cover is community concerts, and so that's what I would be looking to submit. This year, we currently have budgeted $4,300 for bands between concerts in the park, farmers market. I believe the DDA sponsorship for Rock in the Bay was also included in there. So I'm just looking to match what we already do, so we can either spend a little less of our own money and try to secure some grant funding, or maybe we want to beef up what we do and offer more. I'm not sure yet what we want to look at doing, but just looking to get permission to apply for this grant. And typically, we come before you to seek permission to apply before we do.
So this money, you've already got a price to put this money?
If we did the exact same thing that we did this year, we could use it to offset the $43.50 that we paid this year, so we'd only paid $21.25 or whatever it is. And then we would ask for the grant of the 21, whatever the half is, because it's a 1-to-1 match.
Right, so couldn't we ask for 4,000 if we put it 4 and a half for?
Sure, we could. We'd have to expand what we're currently doing. So we do,
All right, but I mean, we wouldn't have to come up with an additional 4,000 on
no,
top of it.
nope. It's money we already budget every year for these kind of activities.
Okay.
do we get a report on how the activities are attended and how they, what they do for our community? Do we ever, I know the park thing is huge. I was just wondering about some of the other stuff that we do, so we can get input on how successful they are for our business community or our community in itself.
I don't think there's currently a report on, there will
No,
be,
but can we start doing something like that so that
Well,
we have some type?
that'd be a lot of
have to figure out how to
statistics.
measure
I mean,
it.
You'd have a lot of time in trying to figure that out.
Yeah, but
Best
do you
way to
want to
find
keep?
out is,
Yeah, but do you want to keep putting money into something that isn't
well,
doing what
did
it's
you go to
supposed
the Rock on the Bay this weekend? It was packed down there. It was an absolute
No,
beautiful
I went
turnout.
on Main Street though.
Thursday nights are a really good turnout down at the beach house. All you gotta do is go by there.
No, I know, but
I'm just saying you're gonna spend a lot of money trying to come up with the statistics to get this report.
That's true.
You see what I'm saying? You're
Do a drive-by and see
spending,
what's
do a
going on.
drive-by, it'd save, cost you 25 cents in gas.
Emily just had a good point in the audience here, is that these are activities that are supported in our master plan, our strategic plan, our placemaking activities. These are all activities that are included in those plans to support. So one way or the other, we have to come up with funding to do it. And I think this is a nice way to offset funding that we already put there. But
Okay, so we're spending $4,000 now.
$43.50 this year.
Okay.
I move that we allow staff to apply for up to a $4,000 match, to match existing funds utilized for the concert in the park, farmers market, and other city concert events.
I'll support.
All right, motion by Commissioner Thompson, support by Commissioner Phelan, to allow staff to apply for up to $4,000 to match existing fund utilized for concert in the park, farmers market, and other city concert events.
We don't have to use that 4,000, do we?
We may not apply for the full 4,000, depending on what we can manage to do and what we're looking at doing. One of the other
Because
things.
you'll come back to us and give us the specifics where these are gonna go.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep,
very good.
and actually, before we accept the money, typically we come back and say, here's what we proposed, here's what we received.
Okay.
We talked about maybe having bands range in price, from $300 up to, I just looked at Sawyer Brown today, $43,000. We won't be getting Sawyer Brown, darn it. But, so you can look at different calibers of bands, and I know at our farmers market, I think some of the people are getting a little tired of the same people. Maybe mixing it up a little bit is nice too. So the little bit of extra money will help change things up a little bit.
Okay, I was just looking if we're spending 43 now, and if they match it, we could save an
could
extra
back off.
$1,000 and
Yep.
still be ahead,
Yep.
so.
All right.
Yeah, I'm cheap. Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next is
Last thing.
vacating Buckeye Avenue and Bay Drive.
I promise, then you'll get rid of me.
Did you save all this stuff up for tonight, or?
Kim, that's how she rolls. We got a lot done these last couple weeks, I'm not lying. What's before you is the proposal to vacate Buckeye Avenue and Bay Drive, a portion of Buckeye Avenue and Bay Drive. You have before you the resolution that Don Bacon helped us create. At this time, our charter requires that we set a public hearing for this to be considered. The public hearing has to be set 4 weeks from the date of your first being introduced to it. So I put the public hearing date as August 8th there for you. Typically, there's two things that you have to do when you vacate a street. One is a resolution, which is the part that we're working on here, and the other part is a court order. So the people in this area have already been served with papers. Basically, I know it sounds terrible, but they have to be sued for their right to the easement that they have. And there have been 3 people who have voiced a concern that they're not in favor of it in that area, and Don Bacon has been working with them. And I don't think we put those in the packet for you, but we'll have that at the public hearing for you. And largely, what Don has to do is negotiate a deal with those people to get them to kind of meet in the middle. So he's been working on that with the people that have voiced their concern, and we'll have more information on that at the public hearing. This is largely to prepare that site for the development that he's proposing.
So when you say make a deal with them, is it gonna, I mean, we're talking monetary deal?
No, that's not what I've heard. I know the property adjacent to his wants an easement. The property behind him, same thing, wants an easement. And I believe the city needs to keep an easement on there too for utilities, so.
That was the only thing in here, the easement description for the water and sewer the sewer is gonna stay there, but we might be moving the water around a little bit, so that easement, it's still gonna be 20 foot wide, but we have to move it around a little bit to.
The water supplying his facility?
Yeah.
So other than,
Because it's in the way of where he's gonna.
Well, we had a 12-inch main that, when we put that project in, that ended at his building. He's our last customer out there. Now his new addition is gonna be built over that 12-inch main. And so we're gonna have to move, depending on how we work it, we could change it into the 12-inch portion he's building over, change it into his service line, because he paid the lion's share of extending the utilities out there. He paid a lot of money to have the utilities out there. Or we might we're gonna meet with Daryl this week, and we're looking at possibly building, looping it around the outskirts of the property, and so it still gets to the back road there, and so we can feed future customers down the road. Because we have a couple people that are interested. And one could be a pretty large, a good-sized customer, so.
Well, to move this forward, I'll move that we set a public hearing for August 8th, 2016, to consider vacating a portion of Buckeye Avenue and all of Bay Drive in the city of Gladstone.
I'll support.
All right, got a motion by Commissioner View, support by Commissioner Thompson, to set public hearing for August 8th to consider approval of vacating Buckeye Avenue and Bay Drive.
He owns this property, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all we have is an easement on it. So the road's not owned by the city, even though we have
Well-
to do this.
Is the road owned by the city?
No,
This-
it
No.
is.
The road was initially created and made by the state of Michigan. Because the city maintained it, plowed it, patched it, received money from Act 51, yeah, see, I'm learning the roads. By law, the city has the use easement to it. So we are one of the defendants in this case to say, you know, you need to give up your right to it. In order for them to get the full court order to say this can be vacated and it's legally completed, it needs the city's permission to do so. You're the board to approve that. So, no, it's not technically owned by us, but yes, we technically have an easement and we have a claim to that road that we have to treat like it's a piece of our property. We have ownership in it, I guess is the right word. Clear as mud, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's a right to use.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next up is resolution number 2016-11 MDOT contract number 165244.
Okay, Nicole's gonna come up and help explain what's going on with this. This is the road work for the new exit way entrance into the city on the south end of town by the Shell station and McDonald's. You know, earlier in the year, we had, in our approved budget, there was $50,000 budgeted as a match with the highway department for our portion of the project, of which will go, which is mainly the main intersection. I had Adam printed up a picture. If you want to take one, pass it along. This is the intersection where South Hill Road and the existing exit and Lowry Avenue and Lakeshore Drive all come together. This is the city's portion of the project. If you look, the water is the south side and the top of the page is north. You can see the Shell station is on the left, and Kelly's Dental is at the top of the page, and the little white box right there, that's the roof over the gas pumps at the BP Now Standard Station and McDonald's. So Nicole wants to take the floor.
Well, we need a resolution signed by the commission in order to accept the contracts. When the contracts were first put out, the estimate was $50,000. Late Friday, they did receive their estimates in, and they came in higher. So the city's portion is now
58,165.
Yep. The original cost of the project was going to be $504,000. It's now estimated to be costing $567,000. It came in 12.5% higher. I talked with MDOT today, and the reason being is that the concrete was estimated at the original estimate at $462 per square foot. It came in at $8 a square foot.
Why so much? Is that local?
They received two bids, and they're not at liberty to say who those bids are until they notify them right now. But they did tell me that the two bids were relatively very close in amounts. And they did take the low one, and the low one did come in at 12.5% higher.
All right, so did I hear you right? You're saying, what are you asking for? 49,200?
That was the original amount,
That's
Now
what's
you're
on
asking
here,
for
though.
58,000.
58.
That's what we knew as of Friday when we got this out. We just found out this morning that the bids came in high, and the state has to bring that back. They haven't accepted the bids yet either, because it's more than a certain percentage high. But our highway department person called us and said, because of the bids, if the state accepts them, our portion will be 58,165 instead of, we had budgeted 50,000, and they originally told us from their estimates it was going to be 49,200. But
What did the overall project cost increase to?
467.
567,633.38. The difference being $63,070.
Is that like for materials, you think, or? if it
They
help-
said the main portion of that, was the concrete, almost doubled. Another contributing factor is the cost of maintaining traffic throughout the duration of the project. They don't plan on closing that off, so they plan on having it manned, so we don't disturb any of the traffic flow. And the other items that were proportionately higher were the pavement, the bituminous HMA pavement, curb and gutter, and some gravel. So basically, the materials went up, plus the staffing to keep it open.
Concrete was the big factor?
Well, 462 is what they said at the time they estimated it, and it came in at $8.
Is that for how
A square
much?
foot.
A square foot, $8? Why such a, is that what it
don't know.
is now? I mean,
I don't know. They both contractors came in with that. So both contractors' concrete came in high.
well, you remember what happened with the playground when everything came in high, you rebid it.
Yeah, but this is MDOT.
This is MDOT.
I know, but I mean.
I do have more information on this too, just so you know. It was a while ago that this was brought to you. Do you want me to refresh your memory on where the money's coming from or what it's going
Well,
for?
actually, I got a pretty good memory of this. I was a little upset with the $50,000 being allocated to that because it was done prior to our knowledge. And that was one of the major problems I had with our past city commissioner. And now it's going up almost another $10,000. And this is in direct reflection to the non-motorized trail, which we promised taxpayers, or the taxpayers were promised in the past that it wasn't gonna cost the city more than $9,000. Well, now we're looking at almost 70.
Yep. And we do have to keep these two projects separate, although they do feed off of each other.
So
One
if
of-
if we didn't do this, would the non-motorized trail still go through?
Yes. We would have to do the $150,000 for the realignment of the off-ramp, but they want to know how much infrastructure we want to do to that intersection.
Well, why are we talking about going all the way down to the armory with this then? That's part
Because of
that
the realignment of the streets right now. The realignment of the streets is, and I have maps. They did give me a set of prints, if you want to look at those. The before and afters of how that intersection is a little bit crooked, plus the drainage is kind of bad. So the $58,000 is going to go directly towards the street portion of the cities. What we would probably have to redo anyways, or would it be a good idea to redo because of the new businesses that are going in there? What's the new business, Renee, that's going in?
It's a bank.
The bank. So the curb and gutter and the different things that are going to be done to the streets are going to make that more conducive to bringing business in and creating a more, MDOT was never really happy with that intersection. They didn't think it was real safe. So this was their,
I guess my question is, we put special assessments on taxpayers in town. Can we put special assessments on businesses here?
Why not?
Why?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
I mean, if we're gonna do it to the taxpayers in town, why can't we do it to the people out here, especially when you're talking about gas stations and banks and?
That would have to be looked into. Has never been done, not saying that it could necessarily, but you'd have to check the code
I wouldn't know
in the
that.
language relating to that.
I personally, I've got a problem with it just because now we're way over budget and it's exactly what I said was gonna happen.
Is this an intersection we're gonna have to deal with soon anyway?
It's in bad shape. I don't know.
Because I know it was really in really bad shape.
It was in real bad shape this spring. It's all been filled in with coal patch. I know that at least the portion in front of the Shell station, the big curb portion right there, and
I'm just wondering if we'd end up spending this soon anyway.
Well,
because of the shape of that
that's a
intersection.
hazardous intersection. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if Paul has any idea. Do we have a lot of accidents there? Is this a major safety concern, this
We'll have to
intersection?
look up the numbers. I mean, I just handled one last week there. We've had some in the past. They're not, they're more property damage related at that specific section rather than injury related out on the highway just because of the speed change. But it is a confusing flow of traffic through there. It's, some would say it's better since the ramp was taken out that exited out onto the highway. Some would say it's worse. I mean, it's a matter of opinion. I think MDOT, if they were to look at our statistics for that individual intersection, they would say that it's not accident-wise a major problem. But line of sight, the curves that are associated there, it's enough of one that we probably will address it at some point in the future, try to through reconstruction and like Eric said, the issues with the pavement there.
Well, I guess I'd like to see what the plan is for MDOT, what they're looking at to do with that intersection, to see how it's different from the way it is now.
Sure. And we actually were able to get the plans on Friday. This is a good thing that it's coming right now and that we got the bids in, because usually we sign the resolution and that there's a change, it says accept and different things. And so we were lucky that we got the bids in on Friday. They didn't expect them in, so this is a good thing. You're gonna have all the information in front of you to make the right decision. Other than that, I would have been probably coming to you, asking you to sign the resolution, and then coming back and having an amendment to it. So I feel good that at least we know what the prices are and the bids are in. And we do have a set of the plans. It shows how it shores it up. In conversations with MDOT, that the off-ramp, leading into Lakeshore Drive was always a concern. It's pretty quick right through there. And then when you're sitting at the stop sign by the gas station, you're kind of looking over your shoulder. And so the speed coming off of there is always been they've been touchy about that. So when they decided to take out that and then make it more of an L, that's going to slow the traffic coming off of the highway. Plus shoring up those two roads, you're not going to be looking behind you, you're going to be looking perpendicular. And that's what the plans show. So, I mean.
Can we see the plans?
Yes.
Can we push this safely to next meeting so we can all get a good look at these plans?
Oh, I'm sure.
She's got the plans now. Let's take a look right now.
The state hasn't approved it,
No,
the
it has to go to
thing yet.
Lansing to be able to be approved, so.
The other thing from a safety point is that, separate from the walkways, they're going to be putting sidewalks in front of where the bank will be, and in front of the standard McDonald's and the standard station, and in front of the condos. I don't know if you've noticed, for years people will just walk along the edge of the road along there. There will be sidewalks along
I
there.
guess we're losing some of that space by the Shell gas.
And that's all part of this bid?
Yeah.
And then the circle that you see right here is where the city's money goes, because those, MDOT can't put money directly into city streets. So they're appropriated the off-ramp, the curb and gutter, the drainage, the sidewalks, everything leading up to this. But we're still gonna have to do something right here eventually, because it's.
Yeah, but then who's paying for this?
That's along the lake.
I think that's
That is all
That's the
MDOT
actual- this is
with the
the
curb and gutter.
road
Road
surface, this is
over
the
to
trail.
take it from
Yeah, I think that's the trail in here, it's the road surface
All the way
right
to the
here.
Army?
I'm coming this way and this way. So I could see that it does kind of do this. So it does make it a little bit more of an L than.
Well, it makes it like a complete stop instead of a.
And I have the full set where it comes off of the ramp.
And you can't see the ramp because it's over here in front of it.
Well, what I'm
The
concerned with
exit-
is how
the
they were
exit
addressing
coming
this.
into town will be
This here and
further
this,
down.
because this is the problem here, is you've got this V here, that's
Well,
what.
if we hold up on this, will we be able to see the bid before we vote on this?
Be able to see the people who bid?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
They
'cause
just, they need to notify the bidders before they put that out. But these are pretty much detailed, so you can take a look at them and see where the trail is going, the curb and gutter that's going to
Well,
be
if we,
placed.
if we postpone this to our next meeting, can we get
Yes.
copies of these?
Okay.
Then you'll have all the information.
Do they have
Make a
the,
motion.
do they have the buildings overlaid on those? The existing buildings, like the Shell station and?
MDOT plans are hard to read. We can get the plans and we can draw it in where the.
City plans are hard to read.
MDOT's and the telephone companies are even worse. They're hard, they leave stuff out that normal people like to look at, so.
Could the DDA pay a portion of it too?
We'd already talked
No.
about
We
it,
had
and they
that
said no.
discussion already.
No?
The DDA is not allowed to pay for anything that would be normally paid for tax, that would come from taxes, because that's not their part. But things that are not taxes, like the enterprise funds, they can support those. So water, sewer, those kind of things.
Say something in support of that?
Some of the costs may be able to be supported, like the sidewalk improvements, curb and gutter improvements, because those are improvements, those aren't just regular maintenance issues. So there may be a portion of that that could be
Yeah,
paid for.
But
that's
it's
already
designated
covered.
pretty much, 150 comes from MDOT for the ramp. 300 is discretionary funds that have to be put towards different things. So the city does have to pay for that circle portion for their local streets, whether that comes from the DDA. But we couldn't take from like a sidewalk and put it into there, but if there was sidewalks that were involved in that, we could.
So you could break out the cost of.
We could.
curbs and
Well,
sidewalks
assessment,
and
too.
say, this is an improvement. Plus, keep in mind that there's going to be, there's plans in place for the bank building to go in, so there's gonna be extra TIF capture. That TIF capture could be dedicated towards improvements in that area, until you reimburse yourself.
I don't think it's a rush that we need to, it still has to be okayed by Lansing. Of course, they do want to start the project, they do have the bids in, but I mean, definitely take your time, look at the plans, let's look at let's cost out how much that intersection's gonna cost us to redo if we have to do it. When are we gonna have to redo it? If we do it now, or are we gonna do it in 2 years? I mean, let's definitely get all the information that you need to make the right decision. I don't think it's a big rush right now. I don't want you to feel pressured to do something.
Okay.
No, if we could wait 2 weeks,
Sure.
I'd like that. Then we can get anyone from the public that wants to provide input, they can say, the 50,000, that seems like a lot, but they could say, well, if you're doing that whole intersection and all the way down to Marble Arms,
Marble Drive.
Marble Drive, that, close, wrong part, that maybe that's worth it, since if we would have to do this anyways.
If they were going to Marble Arms, it'd really be.
It'd be a good deal, 50,000, I know, okay.
We might be able to get Vince Bevins to our rep
Yep.
from the state, who could come in, give their explanation.
And we can, then we can we can weigh in, like, the sidewalks and what are the benefits of being able to connect, the Bluff area to the downtown also. I mean, do we want to do it this year? No, but if it's getting paid for, maybe we do. But we definitely have time. Don't feel pressured to do anything. We definitely have time.
All right, I'm gonna move that we move the authorization of mayor and the city clerk to sign the MDOT contract number 16-5244 to our next commission meeting on the 25th of July.
I'll support.
All right, got a motion by Commissioner Phelan, support by Commissioner View to table this till the July 25th meeting. Any more discussion?
Yeah, I'd just like to ask that if it's possible, if you could get us copies of them prints and any more additional
bids.
information on what it would cost us
If they're
to
out.
just repave some of the damaged roads down there compared to what we're gonna throw into this project.
Can we get those electronically, Nicole? Or can I get a copy electronically? Do you have
I can
it?
ask for the prints. I'm sure they're available that way, but I'll ask.
I just
I would
was
also-
noticing the numbers on there, and there's like over 20 pages of prints, so it might be a.
They
very
dumbed
large
it. They
file.
dumbed it down for us. So if you get it electronically, you're going to get the whole thing, and then you'll have to pick out these portions, which I
Give us the
could.
dummy version.
It's fine. It's on my
I just
monitor.
keep it, kiss it for you a little bit.
That's
So,
great.
did you vote on this? Can I speak yet or no?
Yeah, you can start.
Okay, so before next meeting, if you could get your questions together, and if it's something that I could answer, I could answer those, or Eric can. And if not, I can get a hold of Vince Bevins, and he can come and speak to this.
That'd be great.
He's a local guy, and he's easy to understand, and he makes things very clear. So if it's still clear as mud, please, I'm sure he'll be able to come. Okay?
All right, all those in favor of tabling, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next is a pipe bid.
We put out pipe bids for some of this is for replacing stock, but a vast majority is for we're permitted to replace the water main in the alley, Wisconsin-Minnesota alley from 8th Street to 9th Street. And we received three bids. The commission has the numbers before them, and I'm recommending the low bid of HD Supply and Waterworks.
I move that we approve the low bid from HD Supply Waterworks.
I'll support.
All right, motion by Commissioner Thompson, support by Commissioner Phelan to do the low bid from HD Supply Waterworks.
Can I ask where they're from?
Green Bay, Wisconsin.
And where's number 2 from?
UP Pipe is in Escanaba.
And number 3?
Aetna is Marquette.
Do you know how much money you have budgeted for this?
You remember up?
I think we have around 40,000.
With construction, so it
Okay.
fell in well close to our estimates.
Is there any expense for the shipping of this stuff? I mean,
Nope, this is delivered to job site.
Delivered to job site?
Yep.
Okay.
No, HD Supply will work with UP Pipe because they do a lot of jobs together, and like they'll probably buy the hydrants from UP Pipe, and so UP Pipe will still make money.
Well, I was just wondering if we use local businesses sometimes, even if they're a little bit high. I mean, this
do.
is 6% higher. I don't
Yeah.
know if that's over the amount, because I definitely like supporting the community surrounding area. So I
Yeah.
just thought I'd throw that out there.
We do generally if it's below 5%.
Okay.
I talked to the folks at UP Pipe, and they got it looks like they're going to be partnering with the Dakota Avenue project, so they'll be getting some more work from that project too. So
Well, that makes me feel better then.
All right, any more discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the MML Executive Search.
well, I was going to let Kim sort of prepare this one, did the research on it. The last few commissioners have been hired through the MML. These are the costs, the numbers we're doing that they propose for their search. Take it away, Kim.
As you requested for me to look into the services offered by the Michigan Municipal League, the top level of service is a not-to-exceed pricing ranging from $17,000 to $20,000, depending on your membership status, which we are full members of, and then any travel costs, obviously, for the person, for the coordinator for that. In the brochure, you can see that it says their typical level of service, or that top line includes 4 personal visits with the search facilitator. It would include a department head and staff engagement during the profiling process, an extensive community profile and recruitment brochure that they would prepare and put out, advanced marketing, including customized online advertising, targeted email, and the league's social media, direct recruitment of passive candidates, personal pre-screening of viable applicants and reference checks, development of customized interview questions and the candidate selection format and process, and assistance with the conditional offer of employment, background check, and contract negotiations. So that is that top level tier service that they provide. For a less complex search, the basic services, they would do 3 personal visits with a search facilitator. They would still do the community profile and recruitment brochure. They would do some marketing and advertising, personal pre-screening of viable applicants and the reference checks, and develop customized interview questions and candidate selection format process, and do the background check. And that service was from $12,500 to $14,500. As she said in her email, we can talk to her about customizing and, different things, and obviously that would change some of the pricing. Have the treasurer look into what the budget is looking like that we have in the city manager line item. And there was $110,661 originally budgeted for that. To date, with the previous city manager, $41,334.18. As you just approved for the interim manager, taking us through the end of December would be an additional $6,000 of expense, bringing total expenses in that line item to $47,334.18. That leaves you in the current budget for the city manager line item $63,326.82 available without going over or having to do a budget amendment. That's currently what's budgeted in there as of this point. As we said, you know, Michigan Municipal League is the expert in the municipal world, but it is not the only option. There's private companies or headhunters, if you will, that companies have used before. We have not. I haven't explored that. I wasn't, looked into any of that. So I have no idea what to tell you for that. But
Well, the only comment I'd have is Eric said that we've used these for the last couple city managers prior to Darla.
right, Darla was a promotion from within. The previous city manager.
I mean, do
hire
we
was-
use MML?
Correct, yes, and I believe we used the basic, the less complex search services.
But I guess what I'm saying is they didn't stay very long.
Well, MML doesn't guarantee how long they stay.
Well, I'm just trying to see how, I don't know.
They help you walk through the process and get you candidates to hire. They don't.
I guess before we commit to something like this, I'd like to research every avenue, maybe look into some of these private companies and see what they have to offer us. $17,000 or $20,000 is a lot to have somebody go and look for somebody for you.
Right. And with that, I can ask them the same type of services, that we'd be getting for this, and look into some of those private ones. I myself, off the top of my head, I'm not aware of those ones, so it'll take a little bit of research to do and get them to give us a quote on it, but trying to keep the same services,
I mean,
ask them the
I don't
same
know how
things.
the rest of you guys feel, but I think we should explore every avenue before we commit
I
to something
agree,
like this.
I agree.
You guys know the other options anyway.
Do you have do you guys have any idea of who you want privately, locally?
Let's go on monster.com.
Yeah, I mean,
or
if you
something.
can, if you,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear anybody.
he said monster, you don't want monster. No, I would imagine anywhere you look, there's gotta be private firms out there that'll handle this. If there's a local firm, yeah, you can use them, but
Isn't there consulting firms that do this? Is that what you're looking for?
Well,
Like that?
that's,
I went to some ML meetings, and I remember talking to people, and they were saying that if you are in the process of wanting to get some support staff and that, they have some options you can use. They're not cheap, they're not gonna do it for nothing, but I might have some cards at home.
through MML?
Yep.
Yeah,
Not
this
through
is-
MML.
Okay.
People that were displaying their services at an MML conference.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, and I can put out to my clerks, listserv, obviously, we're not the only one that's ever needed to hire a city manager, so I can put out to that forum and see,
Can we go on Craigslist and put it too? Well, you don't know what you're gonna get. Not good?
yeah, depends on what you want to get.
No.
Yeah, I look at, I don't know, I was just asking if you have
Services
some names
wanted.
in mind, but I can do some research and see what's out there locally, somewhat locally. I
don't think we
just
had
wanted you
good
to know,
luck
I know
with
those are
MML, but it
options,
might
but
have been the
I didn't have any
commission's decision.
names
Alright.
or firms to give you, but.
yeah, if you could just, any research you could come up with, reach out to any other city clerks or anybody that would have had to deal with any of this.
Sure.
Do you want
I'm gonna move that we table this to our, what do you think, Kim? You want 2 weeks or 4 weeks? Or you want to go to our
I can
first
bring
meeting in
back what I
August?
have on the 25th. When you get into August for me, August 2nd, I have an election, so, I'm preparing for that in the next bit as well.
4 weeks.
Yeah.
That'll put her right in the middle of
The first part of
election.
August and the last part of July is really tough for me for the election. I need to,
So you want to go 6 weeks?
Second meeting in August.
We can do
I
that.
mean, I know you guys want to keep moving. If I have something before then, I certainly
Right.
can bring it.
Okay.
But I am on a timeline with my election.
Well, we'll take it easy on Eric for 6 weeks.
Promise? Okay, so, I mean, you're saying August 22nd would be the second meeting. Is that part of your motion, or?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
You support, you all sounded alike. I'm sorry.
All right, Commissioner Phelan, made a motion and support by Commissioner Thompson to table this to the August 22nd meeting and to get more information. All right, any more discussion on it?
And I just want to make the comment that we're really trying to do the right thing for the right cost. That's, we don't want to rush into anything too quickly, but if something comes up sooner than later, we'll
Right.
definitely look at it.
If I, have any additional information, I can give you even an update at the next one. It's just with the July border review, my public testing, and with my equipment and the election and ballots going out, I may not be as focused on that.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next is the DDA Subcommittee for Redevelopment Ready Community Activities.
This is pretty simple. On June 14th, the DDA recommended that we secure 2 city commissioners to work on RRC activities. I talked with Ron Miasso. I wasn't at the meeting, so I had to call him to see what their idea was when they made this motion. Basically, they're looking for someone to help with some of the activities. One of the things that we have to do is a public participation guide. That would require some input from your level. And the other thing that they were looking for is to develop a comprehensive list of buildings that are vacant in the downtown, and they were specifically talking about the downtown, not the entire DDA, but in the downtown district, to develop a marketing tool for those buildings, to have contact information. We get that request a lot at the city. A lot of times I just know about them. Between Darla and myself, we kind of always knew which buildings were vacant. A lot of times we knew what the cost was too. So we try to help people out as they were looking. But something a little more comprehensive like other cities are using. A lot of times if you go on their websites, you can just click on businesses and it will link you to the various businesses in town, and it'll also link you to vacant buildings that are available in the square footage that they have, and maybe they have restaurant equipment available, different things like that. So that's what we're looking for, is 2 commissioners appointed to that subcommittee. It's overwhelming, the response we're getting.
I would
More
love to be on the
subcommittees.
committee. I think actually the DDA promoting business development is really important. And of course.
And I'll volunteer too.
And then of course, well, I had a whole speech, but okay, fine.
Go ahead.
No, that's fine. This is part of economic development. Economic development and the DDA together, these are the things we need. We have to drive the city forward. Who will be the bus driver? All right, so.
All right, you want to make that a motion, someone?
I would love to.
I'll move that we appoint Commissioner O'Connor, Commissioner View to the subcommittee with the DDA members for the RRC activities.
I'll support.
All right, got a motion by Commissioner Phelan, support by Commissioner Thompson to have Commissioner O'Connor and Commissioner View to be on the subcommittee to work on the RRC activities. Any more discussion? All right. Oh.
I just one thing too is that you're working on subcommittee meetings. You can do that, with the 2, because the mayor serves on the DDA. If you have a joint meeting too, that would be a quorum of the city commission. Would need to be posted. So.
Well, I
just
don't plan on
keep it
being
in your
on
mind.
it, so.
Yep. Just a gentle
got
reminder.
enough on my
That's how
plate.
he got out of being on that.
Yep. Just a reminder. So let me know when those are.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
then tomorrow morning, we meet with the DDA, so we'll figure out who the 4 DDA members are, and I'll email the 2 of you. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next is set a special meeting to explore the reorganization of DPW and Parks and Recreation Department. I was thinking it'd be a good idea if we meet sometime next week with the department heads to tell them what our plans are.
Okay.
Beginning of the week?
Whatever is good for you guys next week.
Okay.
Probably earlier in the week.
Yeah.
And we're looking at the total reorganization, right?
Yeah.
Not just Parks and Rec, but,
No, just Parks and Rec and DPW.
well, can we expand that to include the entire,
City.
the entire city?
Well, I was just talking about that one because that's our goal in the first 3 months. But I mean, I don't know.
I mean, we can,
That's why we listed it that way. We were just going by what the goal was in the first 3 months. 'Cause
Well, that's the goal, but if possible, I'd like to expand it to include all departments because then we can get more input. I'd like to make sure everybody's aware of what's going on.
Okay, so then you would want like all the department heads to be at that meeting?
Make your motion to include that and see if you get support.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we change the agenda item the description of what we're going to do from just looking at the reorganization of DPW and Parks and Rec to include all other city departments.
I'll support that.
All right, got a motion by Commissioner O'Connor, support by Commissioner View to do more than just explore reorganization, DPW and Parks and Rec, but all the other areas too.
Do you think you can keep it to under a reasonable amount of time?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think we can cover it all in?
Well, not all of it, but you can start.
Well,
Okay.
this brings in all the other departments, so they're not excluded, and then also what their input is and how we're looking at this and how that might affect other groups. Because looking at DPW and Parks, what needs to be in there, what needs to be excluded, and are there special cases that we need to take care of? Like the harbor makes money, the campground does, so, how should we treat those? Should they be a little bit different than how we want the regular things to work? Are they grouped into it?
does the commission as a whole have a plan that we can prepare for, or are we gonna develop that plan at this meeting?
I think that would be the goal of this meeting, is to
Yeah.
see where it goes, because
Okay.
we've really not had a discussion on anything other than.
It's,
Brainstorming.
Yeah, I think that's what we want to do is, what would the organization look like? So it's brainstorming.
okay.
So we want input, from all the employees, and the managers and all the staff. And of course, the citizens, if they have input that they'd like us to know about.
All right, all in favor of what?
Did you guys set a date and
No,
time? 'Cause I
we didn't
do
set
that.
any of that yet.
Oh, what date's next week sometime? Monday?
Yep.
How about more like 4 o'clock?
4 o'clock Monday?
Yeah,
Is that good?
and then plan for what, 2 hours?
Yeah, not more than 2.
4 to 6.
4 to 6. Is that good with you guys?
Me, it's not with me, I'm out of town.
All next week or? All next week?
Also won't matter anyway.
Yeah. Everyone else? All right. Okay, so we have a motion and support. Any more discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next is Commissioner O'Connor's request, the DDA audit.
Right. As I was going through doing some financials, I noticed that one thing that we need to do each year is to file with the State Tax Commission and actually publish in the newspaper the annual report for the DDA. And we haven't been doing that for years and years. So since it's required by law, I'd like to get that on the agenda, and since we do have the auditors here, this is the perfect time for them to do the appropriate audit that includes all the areas that are addressed here in the statute.
So what are you proposing here that
I'm
we
proposing-
ask the auditors to
I'm
do this
proposing-
audit?
Yeah, I'm proposing, since the DDA does pay us money to do the audits each year for them, so they're paying for that service and we haven't been providing it.
Why, I guess, Darla's not here to ask, but why haven't we done this if it is in the state statute?
far back as I know with the DDA, it has not been done. I don't know if it is actually required or if our audit, because the DDA is not, they don't do a separate audit themselves or they're separate books. I don't know that answer if our audit covers that, and then what does that report look like, because that has to be published in the paper, so.
Right in the state statute, though, it does say that it needs to be reported to the state tax, and you have to put it in the newspaper.
Right, so you want to publish a full audit in the newspaper. That normally isn't done.
Some of this would be
so-
covered by the audit itself, but the newspaper part, I don't, this might be worth a quick call to Miller Canfield.
Well, the audit doesn't cover, what's the state statute required and what the auditors do is not the same, because there's several steps here. There's A through H, which needs to be done. A lot of these, the bond reserve, we don't have any, so that just needs to be reported as zero. So some of these are just items that need to be looked at. And the big one is the number of jobs created as a result of the implementation of the tax incremental financing plan. That's something the auditors could not do. That's something that the city would have to tell them, and that's never been included in the audit.
Back from the original inception of the original plan and the amendment, that has never been done. And we haven't been asked from the State Tax Commission for anything. I'm not saying that we should or we shouldn't have been doing that, but I don't know what that looks like and what those requirements are.
Right,
So a call to Miller Canfield would be required to give
Right.
us guidance, and what does that look like? What does that report look like? How much of that report do you publish?
Well, I think it's important to get the information from them. I mean, what do we do if the state ever does come to us and ask us for this information and we've never
Right,
done
right.
What we need to do it, the question is then, if it hasn't been done, are they going to come back and ask us for previous years?
it? Right.
Right, and that's
So-
where
Well, that-
your expert, the
Right, so
attorney.
that'd be a good idea to make a call to Miller Canfield and find out what they recommend we do. And, do we need to go back to 2009 when we made the amendment, or do we got to go all the way back, or,
Right. And then what does it look like? We can look at other cities, because I looked at Escanabas, but, I think I don't like doing the copycat, this is what they did, we should do something similar. I think we need to address exactly what's in these points, and send it to the tax commission, put in the paper, just what's required, not a whole bunch of
Right.
extra things.
you want to make a motion on that?
I'll make a motion on what I just said.
Could you repeat the motion, please?
Well, actually, the motion is going to be for us to I think we should contact Miller Canfield and ask them the requirements that would be most appropriate for the city of Gladstone to report to the State Tax Commission the status of the DDA as far as our audit requirements.
I'll support.
All right, motion by Commissioner O'Connor, support by Commissioner Phelan. Any more discussion?
Typically, when we contact Miller Canfield, it's the city manager that does that. Oh, sorry, Eric. But that's typically who they talk to. They usually need a higher level person that they talk to.
Did they mention I
But we
don't
can
like
help you.
lawyers?
We will help you.
All right, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. All right, next is Commissioner O'Connor's request at DDA, Miller Canfield.
Okay, before we call them up, not that I'm a cheap guy, but I don't know if this has been addressed before and we just didn't do something, so this might have already been answered in previous communications that are privileged. So I'm just looking at if we could look those up to see what's in the file before we move forward on this.
What are we doing?
Before moving forward on the last motion?
Yes. So I'd like to make a motion that prior to calling Miller Canfield, we review all the previous correspondence that we've had with them, so we know where we are as far as questions we've asked and answers.
Well, you want copies of that? Or
No, that's something Eric can do, he can look those up. So I wasn't sure the format that needed to
From
be.
2009 to right now might could be quite labor intensive.
Well, I know,
not
so
knowing where
that's,
the
well,
files
that's
are.
the thing, and depending on the filing system, if you can find it. So I don't know if it's easier just to contact them for this, and then this other one just can go by the wayside now.
It would be better to contact them directly. Before, when working through the process, and when they went through a 2009 amendment, yes, we have that, but prior to the original and partnering off of that, or if there was calls or correspondence by a manager or whatever. I don't have those in a magic file or a magic system. The previous managers, you know, did that or didn't do that. So to try and do that and search for what may or may not exist and not come up with it versus making a call to say, give me a written attorney opinion on this specific topic. I have looked through the attorney opinions that we have on file, and there is nothing related to this, this topic.
This was never addressed,
The
audit.
the audit that I could find. That's why I said, I don't know what that looks like or what that requirement is because it hasn't been happened in the existence of the history of the DDA that I could find. So,
So what do we do with this agenda item then? I mean, we're just
That's
gonna
up
go with
to
calling Miller
you
Canfield. so-
guys.
I think we'll just not do any action on this item.
Well, you still have to make a motion.
Okay, I'd like to mention we not take action on this.
I'll support.
Okay.
On which one, the one you just talked about now? I
Oh,
mean,
yeah, because we're gonna,
not the one we already voted on?
no,
Okay,
this is the one that we're gonna look at for the paperwork, but since.
we'll do this later.
Well,
We don't need to,
we don't
we're
need
just
to.
avoid it.
It's going away.
If
Unless-
the topic is this, if the topic is about that audit,
About the audit.
in that, we can do that. If you want something else about the plan amendment or whatever, I mean, we can pull
No,
plan amendment
I
documents.
think what he was
but-
asking for was information on the audit.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, and Commissioner O'Connor made the motion, and Commissioner Phelan, were you the one that, or no, Commissioner
supported.
Thompson? Supported. All right, all those in favor of not going on with this, say aye. Aye.
Let's not go on with this.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next is a utility reliability account.
It was brought up at the budget workshop on June 20th. Oh, it was brought up at the budget workshop, June 20th, by Commissioner O'Connor, who presented the information. We were talking about transferring funds for MERS, and we were talking about keeping a safety fund for the utility fund. I guess our recommendation was to sort of wait till the audit is done. They're just about done, so we see what kind of money we have in each one of the funds, and then go from there and figure out that where we want to go with that, and also we're looking at reorganization meeting. That too will have an effect on where and how we put the money into things.
Okay. When's the audit gonna be over? I guess I didn't know how long this is gonna go on. Those guys gonna take off pretty soon?
We usually get it by August.
By August, they will do a special, or you guys will set a special meeting to meet with the auditor and do the report to you guys for that.
So they're gonna be working on this for the rest of the month?
Correct. They are usually here for at least a month, yep.
Well, would it hurt just to create the fund? I mean, because that can be changed anytime anyways. I heard that any funds that is created by the commission can be divvied in by any other commission and changed any way they want. And if this is a start,
Well, I think what they're saying is that it'd be easier to let them finish the audit first, correct?
To see
Before
where
we
you
start
finished.
moving money
well, I
around.
know Commissioner O'Connell did a lot of research on it and knows quite a bit what we
that's-
have available as far as,
Well, because we got the last, from the update, what we had in the funds. But I don't have a problem waiting a month for this, because the other part of this question that I had was, if we had, the largest cost item, of course, was the transformer, and as was just in the newspaper, you know, there was insurance that covered the situation at Escanaba. So I'm wondering what our total, you know,
insurance packages.
exposure is in case something should happen.
Vicki has that call into MMRMA, Chris Katona, our representative, and we haven't got an answer back on that yet,
Okay.
but we should have that in the very near future.
Okay, because that might affect what we want to do, how much money we want to put in the
Yeah.
fund. So I think it's probably good to wait until we get both answers in the audit complete, and then we'll have the complete financial picture of what the loss possibilities are and what we've got in each fund.
Okay, so when do you want to table this till?
When's the same time? End of August or beginning of August?
How about the first meeting in August? Because we've tabled a lot to the second one already.
August 8th. you're
Yeah.
looking at?
Yeah.
Are they gonna be done by then, though? The auditors?
We would know their time, you know, their timetable and that, at least to update you on that, and we may have the answer from the insurance company
We'll have
to at
that,
least give you
those
that.
answers, so.
So make your motion, Michael.
Okay. Let's, if we could, table the, utility reliability count, review until next meeting, which would be August the 8th.
I'll support.
All right, motion by Commissioner Connor, support by Commissioner View to table the utility reliability count to the August 8th meeting. Any more discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Now, city managers report.
4th of July, Wolverine Fireworks, our contractor, there was problems down there. The good news is they offered either another show or a full refund, and because we hadn't paid them anything yet, we elected to go with I elected to go with the refund, or if the commission wants the show. I was worried about the safety down there, and I don't know if I want to bring them back.
I think we gave him one chance. Once
Yeah.
it was over.
That was
So
my
you got a
feeling.
full refund on that, Eric?
If you call it a refund, we haven't paid them yet, so there was 6,000.
We don't owe them nothing.
We
Yeah.
don't owe him nothing.
There's $6,000 from the Mary Cretans Fund that went to fireworks, and so we'll be able to, that'll stay in the Mary Cretans Fund, and we could use it next year to have a bigger show.
All right.
Was there any damages at all that occurred from those fireworks?
Fire department called out, any cost there?
Nicole's sanity.
We were called out down there.
Is there a charge for that?
Wouldn't be over our minimum on that call, so past practices, we haven't billed for that. We were down there anyways with our truck was headed down there for the show later on anyways. We didn't have to age out our entire department or anything like that.
I'm glad it was the old truck too, I could just see the new truck burning up on the same day.
Oh, yeah, we never saw Just our luck.
It's
Yeah.
covered by insurance, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
But we'd have to wait another 5 months to get another one.
We received a few complaints about the parade on some of the participants. It's a tough one because we're lucky to live in a country where we have First Amendment or freedom of speech. But there's also, we have technology that they can amplify their voices, so sort of a balance. There's not much we can do about that. 4th of July committee, we will be having our wrap-up meeting later this week, and then after that, we are going to have another meeting where we're going to call desperately for new members. We want the public to get involved, other service clubs. You know, there's a lot of people you hear say, well, we used to have this, we used to have that in the old days. Well, we want those people to come forward and help us plan it for next year and get more public participation. So we will advertise that. Our check came in this week for $298,825, and that was the CDBG money that the water plant staff and Renee worked on, and that was for the alleys and all the water mains we put in last year and the finishing up of the cleanup this year. Let's see, our contract with DEQ EPA for the creosote site. I don't know if all the commissioners know, but there's a cleanup site below the hill, below McDonald's, and the EPA pays us to operate and maintain that site. The DEQ person that I've been working with for years is retiring this year, so she got us a really nice contract for the next 2 years before she retires. So that's $35,000 contract. That'll bring us through December of 17. We have to go by state budget years on that one. Let's see, the utility committee meeting. We had a utility committee meeting this morning. to discuss, the commission voted not to do the LAIF this year, so it's going to be a little different this fall on how we handle things. One of the things is we're going to be more diligent on turning water delinquency accounts off, because we can by law, and hopefully we'll be able to bring in that money a little bit, so it's not all stretched out to April. We won't do anything for the electric, but it'll help the water and wastewater. We also, Cindy, works the front desk for us in utility billing, will be starting her training on her North Star training on our utility billing reading software. We'll have another person. Right now, Patty is the expert on that. We don't really have a backup, and so we'll fulfill our need to have a backup on our utility billing. The last thing we talked about at the committee meeting was we were talking about a customer paying incentive, and I don't know, I did a little research, and we were talking about possibly having for customers in good standing, meaning someone that has a full good year paying their bill. We're looking at monthly having a raffle and paying up to their utility bill up to $200. I thought it might encourage some people, so you wouldn't have so many door knockers at the end of the month, although that'd be up to the commission if they thought that was a good idea also.
Suppose commissioners are excluded from that?
No, if you're in good standing. Anybody that's in good standing, we were looking at.
New chair. It's not in the budget. I see that.
So, and other than that, the last thing I had was Bands on the Bay. I was there Saturday, and I know it's all the commissioners there. And I thought that was really, the DDA and the city helped support that, and I thought that was a really cool event, and I think that's a good thing to keep going. I know that goes to charity. It was going to the robotics team this year, so I thought that was a really neat event. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Anyone with city commission committee reports, board and commission reports? All right, next up is public comment.
I'm Gary Wyckoff, 36 Royal Oak Drive, and I'm going to comment a minute about the walkway here next to the lake. I remember back when we started this, there was a segment of the taxpayers that really questioned how this was going to be financed and whether the costs were really going to be in line with what it was being sold. And I believe the first number I heard when we started this conversation was $6,000. Then it went to $9,000, as Commissioner Phelan said. Now I'm seeing $49,000, and it was raised tonight to $58,000. So I just asked the commission, as we get deeper and deeper into this, that I ask that you really be prepared for more dollars. Any of these kinds of projects never come in as stated. So that's all I'm asking, because there is a segment out there of taxpayers that were very concerned about getting into this system, and it's starting to happen. And secondly, is that department head discussion open to the public? Is that
It'll be an
okay?
open meeting.
All meetings are open to the public and workshops.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Commission. Darren Hunter, city residents here in Gladstone. I contemplated about doing this or not doing this because of the negative publicity that Gladstone has had recently, especially the first night for Mr. Buckman sitting in that seat. But I have some concerns, and the concerns kind of deal with, I guess, an item that was put on the agenda tonight, and that would be the compost site. Commissioner View and Commissioner O'Connor, I thank you for actually giving me some talking points tonight. The weekend before the 4th of July, getting my yard in order, I go up to the compost site, and I pull in, and I see Commissioner O'Connor. Commissioner O'Connor is questioning my residency, so I tell him who I am, and of course then he remembers that I am a resident. So then I take the time to dump my compost like I'm supposed to, only the right material. As I'm dumping, I happen to see a Wisconsin plated vehicle that Mr. O'Connor is sitting in. So my question is, do we have an actual residency issue with one of the commissioners? And I say that because under state law, which was nice that Mr. O'Connor referenced state law and making sure that our DDA is properly audited, which I agree with, 100%. And Mr. View, who continuously questions every single item, so I'm hoping that in this case, Mr. View will also question Mr. O'Connor's residency. And I say that because not only did I see Mr. O'Connor the weekend before the 4th of July sitting in this vehicle, and I simply asked a question, aren't you sending a mixed message to the citizens? And brazenly, he says, I don't think so. So on Sundays, I'm driving, I happen to see Mr. O'Connor, again, riding in the same vehicle, Wisconsin plated. Now, I took note back in December when I became a DDA board member, and I noticed that he pulled up in a pickup truck registered in Wisconsin as well, or licensed plated in Wisconsin. I didn't say much at that point because I figured he was kind of new to the area and he was going to let his plates expire, even though it's not what you're supposed to do, until now recently. Now, Mr. Levine does an outstanding job up there. Some would say harassment. I say he's doing diligent work, making sure that things are appropriately disposed of. But he's questioning people's residency. So I guess if we are worried about questioning people's residency to dump compost, then I guess I'm here questioning Mr. O'Connor's residency. Because under state law, it states, New Michigan residents must immediately title and register their vehicle at a Secretary of State office and turn in the title from their previous home state. And it gets better. Because if Mr. O'Connor wanted to say that it's also registered in somebody else's name with his name on it, if there is more than one owner showing on your out-of-state title, all owners must be present. So my question is this. This may seem trivial to some that I'm bringing up a civil infraction, and that's what it is. Not displaying a proper plate is a civil infraction. But it goes a little bit deeper. Now we have the issue of insurance. So is a vehicle not properly insured in Michigan? Secondly, do we have a residency issue? So then are we looking at a potential malfeasance in public office or a misfeasance in public office? Now, for those of you who don't take this seriously, malfeasance is defined under the freedictionary.com website, intentionally doing something either legally or morally wrong, which had no right to do. It also involves dishonesty, illegality, or knowingly exceeding authority for improper reasons. Now, malfeasance is distinguished differently from misfeasance, which is committing a wrong or error by mistake, negligence, or inadvertence, but not by intentional wrongdoing. I'm sure we could get into the Hillary Clinton issue, but I'm not making this a Republican or Democrat issue. I'm making this a citizen concern issue. So my question is this. Something from a civil infraction now has perpetuated into something that could be a little bit more damning. The decisions that Commissioner O'Connor have been making for the citizens here. Is he truly a citizen of Gladstone, or is he still a citizen of Wisconsin? He can't have it both ways. So if he's a citizen of Gladstone, then he needs to properly register all of his vehicles, pay the insurance, and do so like the rest of us have to do in this fine state. I made copies, if I may, Mr. Mayor. I'll approach and give it to you. This should be a little bit of an educational purpose as well. That you can give to Mr. O'Connor and or the rest of your commissioners. I don't think there was any wrongdoing by the commission at all. but I felt that as a citizen and as a person who also is sworn to uphold laws in the state, that I could not, in good conscience, keep allowing Mr. O'Connor to question other people's residency in this city to dump compost when he himself should be questioned if he's actually a resident. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Ken Levine, 2722 South Hill Road, Gladstone. Last Wednesday, I went up to the compost to dump. The gate was locked again, nobody there. So I opened the gate and I called Steve, and Steve came down, and the two of us spent the 2 hours in there. Now, this ain't the first time it happened, it's the second time. Now, these people that sign, they want to volunteer, they need to come over there and volunteer. Call Steve. Let them know what days they can volunteer. If we don't have volunteers, how are we going to keep it open? This man here volunteers. Commissioners volunteer. In fact, 3 of them have been down there, maybe 4, I don't know. I know that Balin's been there, I know Steve's been there, and I know O'Connell's been there. So I don't know about this Wednesday. My wife will let me go in there. But something's got to be done. We have to get the volunteers to help out. And last year, I had 2 people work with me all year that stayed with me. And when we ran short of volunteers because of what happened to me, we went to community service. We got people. 3 of them were real good people, but then we got one that must have been a druggie or something, because the state cops was at the back gates, and over by the school there was a police officer over there. So I called up community service and asked about it. Well, says we can't use them. As soon as he was gone, police were gone, everything was fine. Now, one other thing that bothers me. When I sat here, when that $9,000 was going to be all we had to spend, 4 meetings ago I asked in written statement, where is the $123,000 coming from? Didn't get no answer. Still don't have an answer. I don't know if it's more now or less or what. But I think the citizens of Gladstone have a right to know where that money's coming from. If it's coming out of the general fund, well, that's not a good thing. If I was in charge here, I would have scrapped the whole thing. But that ain't my business. I'm only a citizen of this town. But we have good people in this town, and a lot of people are very concerned. They're kind of thinking a little better about the commission, because she's doing some things that they like that should have been done a long time ago. So, I don't know. But Wednesday anyway, Steve, I don't know. You're going to be out of town. So
I'll give you the keys.
Huh?
I'll give you the keys.
Yeah, you better talk to my wife.
All right, thank you.
Hi, I'm Emily Shada, 1701 Montana Avenue. I'm also with QPAD, and I'm excited that you're going to leverage the opportunity that we provide the 6-county region in our area for arts and cultural opportunities. I wanted to talk about something light. One idea before the gentleman got up there, I kind of am changing my avenue. I think we need some positives. I'm a community organizer, and I think we need to focus on small victories. Our community is splintered, and there's so many dramatic infights that are happening that are counterproductive, and it's hurting our community, and it's hurting the focus on what really matters. And I really hope that we can come together, the DDA and the city. In the perfect world, the two work together. They work together to find mutual goals that can benefit the community as a whole. The non-motorized trail, I have no idea if it's in the district, but that is an opportunity for funding to be captured. On a philosophical level, this fighting has to stop. It really does. It's counterproductive, and I hope maybe if there's intuition to do so, a mediation might be in order, because it's really hurting progress, and it's a shame. It's sad to see, and I hope we can focus on some positive growth and small victories. And one idea I had, and I'd be happy to initiate it, after seeing those children in this community come up here, children are our future. We have 4. It's important for them to see us as examples, working together as adults and working together to solve problems. So an idea I had, and I did as an economic developer, was a positive light, had no cost, but helping residents instill pride, and it was simply a beautification award program, and I'd be happy to initiate that, but simply awarding people for doing the great job that they do to maintain their properties or businesses. And I'd be happy to be the steward to do that. I bike, I walk, and I see so many beautiful homes and businesses doing, going above and beyond what they should be doing, and I think they deserve a pat on the back. And I don't mean to you're doing a great job, but I really think we need to come together as a community, and if someone from the outside needs to come in and help that process, so be it. Thanks.
Thank you.
My name is Orvis Velikat. I live 34 Maple View Drive, and I want to thank each and every one of you, because you guys inherited one hell of a problem when you became commissioners of this town, of past negligence of past board members. And now it kind of seems like one of them is on a witch hunt. But Mr. Phelan, I know you pretty good. I think I do. And even if you're not a citizen of Gladstone, you're doing one hell of a job of helping us out. That's the wrong guy. I don't mean Phelan O'Connell. Okay, hey, both of you guys are doing all right. Anyway, thank you for helping us out here. And like there's been kind of like this lady just said, there's been kind of a double standard on some of the stuff here. Several months ago, I was in here and we all agreed on it to post the beach area to be restricted from dogs down there. You put the sign up. It's gone now. Then you turn around and award a woman for her and her children for cleaning the beach up. And I wanted the dogs out of there because a lot of people pick up the fetus. But who picks up the urine that the dogs do all over around there? There's urine spots all over in that beach, and them kids come out there and they lay in it, they play in it. Grown-ups walk in there barefoot, and that beach is getting contaminated with urine from the dogs. The dogs got no business on that beach. It's a sanitation issue, and I wish some of you people would back me up and tell our commissioners to restrict the beach area where our kids play in that sand. And I want to thank you for your time. Have a good day.
Joe Huber, 1301 Michigan. Just on that dog comment, I have a dog. I am a responsible dog owner, and it's harder and harder for pet owners that are responsible because of people that kick them out of any place. He enjoys going down to the water. It's no different than how many kids do you think are in that water urinating?
We have no control of that, but we can have control on the dogs.
It's-
I love dogs. I've had dogs.
It doesn't,
But they
there's,
got their place where they belong.
most of them are in the weeds. It's nothing there. I don't know what, the seagulls and birds do worse than dogs do. I mean, it's just, that's what I got.
Thank you.
I'll speak again. I fish a lot. I fish
We have to let anyone
Anybody else
that
like to speak
talk.
first? Okay, I fish a lot.
Well, I've got some happy news. Mike Lindahl, Executive Director of the Gladstone Housing Commission. Just to inform the Commission, we've talked about RAD before and that in the public. We will be holding our Commission meeting tomorrow night, and the public is welcome, Commissioners are welcome. We are moving forward with the application for RAD. We will be discussing RAD tomorrow night a little bit, and actually, hopefully my commission will approve, and we will be going for the RAD conversion down there. Tentatively, what our plans are looking like is we want to do tax credits. Hopefully, I'm anticipating, but I can't be held to it, $5 to $6 million in tax incentives, which is free. I won't say free money, it costs the taxpayer something, but, and not the city of Gladstone. That actually comes from a federal program. So we looked at possibly investing $5 to $6 million in tax credits into those buildings, along with doing different things like a development corporation to actually start new funding down there and developments and that. We're looking pretty good. So if you want to come down and learn more about RAD and more about what we're doing and the progress we're making, the public's welcome and the commission's welcome to come down tomorrow and see us at 7 o'clock in the Bayview Community Room.
All right, moving on to city commissioner comments. Commissioner Phelan.
Nothing really. We had a decent 4th of July. I'd like to thank the girls for doing a good job down there. I know it's a lot of work on top of everything else you have to do. Really looking forward to forming a committee for the 4th of July next year. I think the sooner we get on that, the better.
Commissioner O'Connor.
As Eric indicated, I'd really like to see the service groups in town that have done the activities before in town really get involved again. The 4th of July parade, that's what we need is input from the citizens. So anyways, I think Mr. Hunter left, but oh, you're still there. Okay. So anyways, it's true. I have a vehicle that has a Wisconsin plate. I also have 3 vehicles that are registered in Michigan. The 2 Jaguars and my other trucks. So anyways, I work between Wisconsin and Michigan. I have an office up here and down there. So I didn't realize the law. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. What I'll do is I'll be down in Wisconsin again this week, and I'll take care of that matter. So anyways, because we do want to follow the law.
All right, Commissioner Thomas.
That's all I have.
I don't know how many people got out to check out Rock in the Bay this weekend, but it was a huge success. There was more people there on Friday night than there has been on the previous 2 nights of that event. It was a lot of fun, and if you didn't get to it this year, check it out next year, because it'll be going on again.
Joe, could I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
Who was the beneficiary?
The robotics team, Gladstone robotics team.
Did they go very far this year?
Yeah, they went to the World Finals. They were in the top 28 in the world. So each year they've been getting better and better. So went to a real good cause. A lot of good kids.
Fantastic.
All right, Commissioner View.
Yeah, just a couple little things. I had somebody try to call City Hall, and a couple of times they say they can never get through. They leave a message, nobody gets back to them. Whether it's true or not, he comes in and tells me. Also, he said that someone else came in today too and talked about seeing the city assessor on Tuesday. And he said every time he came in the last 2 weeks that he could never see her, that she was always busy with something, or in a meeting is what to quote him, he said that she was in a meeting. I told him to come back again tomorrow. So I just wanted to make you aware of that if that's an issue with the phone. Do we still have an issue with the phone, with people not being able to get through sometimes or not? Because I knew it was a problem at one time.
I can check, and I'm used to the phone system at the water plant, but
I feel bad for him. When he walks in my office, it takes him 20 minutes to get from his car to my front door, and then I got to open the door for him. So he's, you
can give him my number. I have my cell phone on me all the time.
Okay. Well, he's coming back down tomorrow.
And as far as Vicky, she's been in her office every Tuesday. I know she's always in there, but she's very busy. You might have to sit outside and wait to be next in line.
Well, someone needs to tell him then that, for the assessor.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I figured, but I mean, I told him I'd bring it up tonight. Then one other thing too, in our budget session, we talked about tuck pointing the city, and I think it's budgeted. Are we gonna move forward with that before winter? The brick? Because I think that's pretty important for this building, not to go through another winter of.
Yeah, I was looking at that also, and there's also I'm trying to find what's going on upstairs with leases. I know there's some,
From the schools, you mean?
yeah, I didn't know what was going on there, I know they're fixing up a portion of it, but also we have the front is leased, and there's some walls that need repair in there that'll have to come out of the city hall budget. I didn't even know anyone was leasing upstairs. I just found out when they asked when we were gonna fix the wall today, so.
I don't know who they are either.
Jim Pino is.
Yeah.
Is what?
When did that come? I
Leasing
never
up
heard
there.
nothing about that. I knew the school was.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
No, I'm looking for agreement, where the agreements are.
Okay. Well, I'm talking about the outside of the building.
Yeah.
You're, you know, that brick needs to be done, otherwise the freezing and.
Yep,
I
I know
if we
they did
budget
this, no, they did this side, but the front is the worst right now, and I'll, we'll get working on getting bids.
If we ever
out for
sell
that.
the building, we want it in tip-top shape.
Yeah.
I'm just saying if. That's a big word. That's it.
All right, well, I want to thank the staff and the workers for really making a good 4th of July and stepping up in the last 2 weeks. A lot couldn't be done without you guys, so really appreciate all the work you guys did. And that's all I got. So, city clerk comments.
Okay, just reminders that the July border review for the city of Gladstone is July 19th from 10 a.m. to noon. Also, July 26th, I will be testing all of the election equipment for the upcoming August 2nd election. AV ballots, that's absent voter ballots, are available currently in my office. If you're not going to be in town, out of town, or various reasons Michigan has, that you can get an AV ballot, please come and see me. Those are available and going out rapidly. We have a good turnout with that. Also, July 30th, which is a Saturday from 9 to 2, I will be available issuing AV ballots for anybody that can't get here during the week. And I will be conducting kind of an election workers training at that point with my Gladstone election workers. So if you're interested in working an election, it would be a good opportunity to come and see what's going on, look and play with the equipment a little bit on the other side as a worker, not just as a voter, and what we do. Some of the comments I've received is, I'd like to, but I'm not sure. It seems, kind of hard or intimidating. So if anybody's thinking about it and want to look at it, what we do Saturday, July 30th. If you're seriously interested in being an election worker, I would love it. And that will give you kind of a peek. You do have to be certified through the state, a 2-year certification with that, but this at least will give you a glimpse.
The age? How old do you have to be?
I can use some school workers, which I have promoted and used some high school workers, even as I'm 16. There's some caveats with the 16-year-olds, but so I do use quite a few of those you've seen in the precinct over the years. So actually good success there, but we'll be looking for others because sometimes the school events that fall with my election doesn't allow me to use those workers. So I'm always interested in workers, and we're getting there where my list is kind of small, especially once I get people appointed for a big election. It's basically 3 precincts, and not having any alternates makes me nervous. So give me a call if you're interested. And that is it so far.
All right, thank you. We're adjourned for the night.